Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second week of the third Blue Oceans International Conference. Tonight is very special since we are hosting Dr. Munir Abbas. I call him Guru in Human Resource Management, and I am sure he has a lot of things to share with us tonight. Good evening, Dr. Munir.
Good evening, Mr. Safwan. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. Dr. Munir Abbas, so just in brief, let me have the honor to go over your biographies here, please. دكتور منير عباس حائز على شهادة الدكتوراه في إدارة الأعمال، تخصص إدارة الموارد البشرية والقيادة، خبير ومدرب في إدارة الموارد البشرية والتطوير بخبرة تزيد عن 15 عام في عدة منظمات دولية مثل منظمة الصحة العالمية WHO or UNDP and UNRWA and UNHCR في سوريا، وعدد من المشاريع الأوروبية مع الاتحاد الأوروبي EU ومنظمات تعاون دولي واستشارات، بالإضافة لعدد من منظمات الأعمال والمؤسسات في القطاع الخاص والعام في سوريا. دكتور منير هو رئيس جمعية أو مجلس إدارة جمعية الموارد البشرية في سوريا IHRM وعضو مختص ومؤسس فيها، وهو استشاري دولي في الإدارة ومجاز من منظمة مستشاري الإدارة في إيطالي، كما أنه مدرب للمدربين ومعتمد من قبل المنظمة العربية للمعلوماتية ICT ومدرب مختص معتمد من IHRM. بالإضافة لذلك دكتور منير هو رئيس قسم اختصاص إدارة الموارد البشرية في كلية إدارة الأعمال بالجامعة السورية الخاصة SPU، وفيزيتنج بروفيسور لعدة جامعات كجامعة دمشق والمعهد العالي لإدارة الأعمال هيبة والمعهد الوطني للإدارة العامة. شارك الدكتور منير في عديد من المؤتمرات الدولية وورشات العمل في مجال القيادة وإدارة الأعمال والموارد البشرية في عدد من المنظمات الدولية والجامعات والجهات التدريبية، وأبرزها لندن بزنس سكول، بالإضافة إلى عدد من الدول العربية والأوروبية والولايات المتحدة والأمريكية والولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وكندا. ما شاء الله دكتور، يعني سي في غني جدا، كأنه مسيرة حياة بمجال HR.
شكرا لك، thank you for introducing me in a way that better than maybe I can do it for myself.
It's all what I have, and it's all what you are well known for. MashaAllah, and the thing that you're contributing to the field of HR in Syria and the association that you started just is going always beyond expectations. فبنشكرك جميعا وإن شاء الله بالتوفيق يا رب.
Thank you so much. Okay, so thanks for everyone who is attending this session. I hope it's going to be a useful one for you guys to give you a brief overlook and overview for the HR situation here in Syria during the crisis before and after. Okay, at first, I would like to thank Mr. Safwan Kadura for having me for this very important meeting with very important people. I've read and went over actually all your names and your achievements. So I'm very proud to be one of these selected people to be in such a great event that Blue Ocean is conducting. Okay. At first, I would like just to introduce the human resource management in a very brief introduction and let's say overview. Human resource management actually it's compasses and consists of all these functions and the practices related to human resources and people from the point of hiring them, recruiting them, and assigning them in our companies, up to the ladder to the point that they retire and leave our organizations. All of the functions actually related to human resources is under the umbrella of a human resource management. And it has very important. Actually, it has very important issues during any normal times and usual times, and especially in crisis. So the things that I'm going to contribute tonight is how about the reflections of the crisis on human resources management in Syria, for example, since I've been actually the president and of the board members of one of these NGOs here in Syria that represent a human resource specialty for 15 years actually so far, since 2007. So I can talk about the human resource experiences, what we have been through before the crisis and during the crisis, and now hopefully we are over this crisis and going to a new era after the crisis. As you all know, the functions of a human resources management, it actually touches all of us, because all of us employees and employers at the same time. We are leaders and people led by others. So anything relates to HR actually touch every one of us, especially when it goes to finding our jobs as employees and laborers or being as entrepreneurs, guiding and directing our businesses and hiring people. So before the crisis, actually in normal times, the recruitment go through actually in a normal way, like raising the advertisements, hiring people, attracting experienced people for some jobs advertised for, and then recruiting these people. But during the crisis, actually, we found out that too many people who are especially professionals, you know about this, they left to different places. They left after good opportunities, maybe around our country, maybe overseas to some countries far from Syria. But the point is, the crisis actually made people with the professions actually be attracted with different companies and organizations out there outside their countries. So we suffered during the crisis of fleeing of many gurus and specialties and fields here in Syria. So that was the first challenge. The second challenge we have faced actually during the crisis related to human resource management is all the companies who suffered from the lack of their incomes. Actually, they started cutting down let's say, the money and the training and the developments, thinking that by cutting down this cost of training and development that they are saving money. And the opposite is right, actually. And, you know, as any business people, they think about, downing their costs, and they feel that the main cost is the administration cost, which relates to the salaries and compensations of their people. So they started actually cutting down and numbering down their employees. Some of these companies actually went down to half of their usual employees. Some of them are excused because of this, some actually hot areas here. So their people maybe left their jobs, and some of their people maybe wanted to find better chances out their companies, and some of their people forced to leave the company. So we suffered of lacking some professionals in our companies, and going after these professionals, went through very hard times. So we started actually recruiting and actually resorting to some headhunters and some employment agencies, and you can't believe how much we needed these people. And the third challenge actually we faced during the crisis is The environment of the work, you know, after many men actually, and many young people left their jobs, so the number of female employees increased actually at the account the expense of leaving men from the labor market. So the environments of the companies before the crisis were not that actually very friendly with hiring some women for some jobs, heavy-duty jobs, for example, and labor jobs. Let's say, let's put a title of blue-collar jobs. But nowadays, during the crisis, women started getting in the fields of new jobs that they never thought of. So now you find some women in restaurants serving, you find some women in telecommunication towers fixing some damages, you find some women in construction fields, you find women working as truck drivers. So this is something new for our labor market. We were not actually ready for this kind of employment. And the fourth challenge, actually, we went through the crisis is COVID-19. COVID-19, you know, as we are part of the world, COVID-19 entered Syria, and we have this actually crisis of COVID-19 and people, the curfew and being locked down in our homes. And so we have to work remotely and from home. And this is not an easy thing for Syria or for a country who suffered from the crisis, because, you know, working from home needs infrastructure, and you need good internet, and you need good telecommunications. On top of that, you need laptops at homes, you need connections, 3Gs, 4Gs, whatever you want to name it. So we were not that much ready. So we suffered until we got, let's say, used to that environment, working from home. That was actually the biggest challenge, and it's still the challenge for us. So for human resources management departments, we had these challenges, how we can actually control and monitor our employees remotely, since we've never been through this kind of environment, work environment. So we started actually developing new policies and procedures in our bylaws in the companies that consider working from home. So how can we consider working from home leaves? How can we excuse some people who did not get in touch with their work, excusing themselves that they don't have good connection? How can we just evaluate their performances since we don't see them for a long time? Should we start working based on objectives? So how many meetings, let's say using Zoom meetings or Teams meetings or Skype meetings with our employees during their staying in their homes, how we can guarantee the benefits of the work. And we just put in our heads that we should keep our staff safe and being distance from each other. And we had many laws during the crisis and the COVID-19 crisis, actually, that we cannot let people in their companies more than 30 or 40% of the total employees working at the place of the work, and 60 to 70 people working from home. So that was a really challenge, especially in a country that has a crisis before. So actually, we were challenged a lot. We still have challenges in this. And the fifth challenge we have faced during the crisis actually is the new the new trend in our companies with the digital world, actually, with the digital projects. Now everything actually starts using the digital environment. So we've been surprised actually how the new generation develop themselves and start doing work through the internet. And it seems like Syria would become a hub for IT. It's similar to what happened to India 30 to 40 years before. Now India is the back garden of IT services for US and Australia and many countries. So Syria started actually having good programmers and IT professionals and graphic designers and people who are doing some work statistics from home, and people have business solutions from Syria, exporting their services overseas to Gulf area mainly, and some of them in Europe. Actually, I know many companies, they are founded and based in Germany, in Berlin, and their staff working here from Syria remotely. So this is another challenge. Many people, they wanted to work as freelancers and they wanted to be independent and entrepreneurs, and the companies are seeking and searching this actually unique talents. And so it's, supply and demand for this. So some of these programmers, they are not paid enough from their point of view as much as they can get paid from being freelancers and outsourcers for many companies in different countries. Even though these people are getting paid lower wages of the countries that they are exporting their services to, but still for the exchange rate makes good money comparing to regular salaries here in Syria. So we have this 5 main challenges, actually. Now we have some solutions, and now we are getting in these solutions, how we can reorganize our organizational structures to fit and to include all of these main changes happened. The main solution we found, actually, now I'm talking to you guys representing a community of HR. We have in IHRM, Institute of Human Resource Management, this NGO, we have more than 125 companies, the largest companies here in Syria, human resources managers as members. And we have many staff, different staff working in human resource management. So what am I summarizing to you is what we are all going through as HR community here in Syria. So now we have solutions for this, actually, doing some improvements. Now, many companies are working on their stuff, and actually at the same time, our new generation of employees here in Syria, they started working on themselves as a self-learner. Too many people develop their skills through the internet and through the virtual courses, free, like Coursera, platforms. We have many platforms here in Syria developed by themselves. Actually, those programs as YouTubers, they offered a lot of teaching lessons and experiences. So the good thing and good signal here in Syria that people start doing self-learning, which is I'm very proud of. I teach in many universities, and I see my students are making sometimes money more than me as a professor in university. And I bless this, which is good, actually. So we started the new era with many challenges, but it seems like the labor markets color themselves, actually, to make themselves fit to the work environment in the world. It seems like we are all one small village in this world. Whatever happened in faraway country affect people here in labor market. And because of this global, let's say, because of this globalization, everyone knows what's going on in different places. Everyone knows how we can just sell our products, sell our services, programs, and let's say intellectual stuff mainly to different places in the world. So now whatever you pay, some of the professions here in Syria, they don't find it enough. And the attraction from foreign companies who work in different countries and they pay their stuff in foreign currency, it makes difference for people who work in Syria as you compare it when you just exchange it for Syrian pound. So many challenges happened and many solutions developed by themselves. Now, actually, we are working on organizing the job market here in Syria. And the government actually started working hand in hand with the private sector and with the NGOs who are more knowledgeable with the labor market to put like market programs and policies. The market programs and policies actually aim to developing some labor market programs that benefit and let's say identify what are the needs of our job market to guide and direct our let's say educational institutions, other apprenticeship centers to graduate people who fit the labor market through these programs. Because too many people here, this is another, let's add it to our challenges. Too many people here get graduated and it's not easy to find jobs like the one that they have studied and dedicated themselves during their studying. Too many people, actually thousands of people, they change their color in the market to find a job. Otherwise, you will be unemployed and without work. So, and I believe the new era will not depend on our certificates of education and universities. The new era actually go after our skills. So the new entrants in the labor market here in Syria, they actually found out this on their own. So they started working on their skills. Like, for example, we have like a training center in our NGO IHRM. It's a capacity building training center. We started delivering many courses, let's say, talk to the skills required in the market, like any courses in digital marketing and anything like electronic commerce, e-commerce, anything like graphic designing, anything like entrepreneurship. It's very actually attractive to the new entrants for the labor market. Those people are caring about developing their skills to find better jobs. Now you find too many people are developing themselves to work in, let's say, designing the inputs of the social media pages and directing and programming and working for some people who have many social media accounts. They are doing their work and they are designing graphics and they are doing their programs, doing something like very similar to the new generation or the new era of work, or let's say the virtual environment. I'm very proud of this, actually. This is the sixth challenge. So what am I saying right now is human resource management right now actually it's changing into new practices. And the best practices here in Syria, besides raising awareness of the importance of human resources management functions and treating our employees in a better way, the new best practices is to go after the clouding business, to go after the virtual environment, to go after the digital business. So this is how we are developing our tools to control our employees and our humans inside the companies, considering these new challenges and new changes in the market. Let me give you a little brief, actually, for our organization here in Syria. IHRM is Institute of Human Resource Management. We have a website, actually, ihrmsyria.org. It was founded and based since 2007, and it's related, actually, to the Ministry of Social Affairs and Labor, and it guides, actually, and it contains, and it consists of all practitioners and professionals and people who work in the field of human resource management. So we have very big community. You can name us as like the only representative for the HR field here in Syria. So we've been around for almost 15 years, actually. In January 15th, or actually in January 14th, we celebrated our 15th anniversary here. So we have big community here. So this benefited us a lot, that we network to each other to find out solutions, and to surprise you, that most of us working and having an eye on what's going on in the labor market internationally. I work for many UN agencies, actually, for right now, working for recently, actually, working for WHO, Human Resource Officer. So I know the best practices from the UN agencies, and we all challenge the same challenges here. And we are, don't forget that we are still emergency country. We have many challenges of the human resources. Beside this, we have the emergency challenges. As a country suffered of crisis and war and COVID-19, and right now we are challenging or having the challenge of going after the era of digital world, actually. So for now, so I will stop at this point, and I will have more time for you guys if you have any questions to ask and to answer you. So thank you so much for listening to me. I'm very eager to hear from you guys and to know what's your reaction and what your questions, if you have any, and I'm ready to answer them. Thank you, Mr. Safwan, and all the ladies and gentlemen who are listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Munir. So much informative. I received actually many questions.
Okay, I'm very happy to answer them.
Right. The first question is talking about the relationship between human resource management and the virtual or digital business. And
yeah,
the person is asking about the exact relation between HRM and the digital business. And he says, to best of my knowledge, HR is all about employees, while if we talk about the digital business, it's about the companies. That's what he thinks.
Okay, so let me answer this. First of all, thank you for these important questions. And my answer to you, we are in parallel, actually. The digital market and the digital environment is a part of our life right now. Actually, all of our practices in human resource management relate to digital environment. For example, right now we are working remotely. How can we actually control our people and monitor them without using the internet and the social media, without having e-meetings, without having virtual environment to talk to each other remotely? On top of that, actually, don't forget that human resource management is all about improvement and development of the staff. We have, since like 30 or 40 years ago, we have the new concept of human resource management. It's called talent management. Talent management, it talks to the new generation of any technology. So we are not actually far from any new technology. So the companies who are working on developing new programs and digital markets, they are human resources, and we have to have our practices on them. These people are human. So we have all the practices to work with these humans, no matter if they are working in factory or working on programs or working on the moon or working in digital era. So we are all about developing their skills. We are all about controlling them. We are all about monitoring them. We are all about developing them and making them our talents. So these two concepts, they are together, matching together, and they are walking side by side together, actually.
Doctor, can we consider this part of the change management concept?
Change management actually all about humans, because when we talk about changing, we are changing the human habits, and human change and change management is all about actually human. So when we change our environment of work from traditional environment of work to digital work, we are talking about human resource practices, because the people who are responsible on this change. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Another question that we received. Thank you, Dr. Munir, for this very important session. My question is, do you think that companies would survive if they didn't do cut on their employees' payment?
Okay, let me give you 2 points of view of this. Actually, the first point of view, any crisis, any cutting down of the expenses, they start asking about how many people we have on board. So let them have half of them, or cutting them down to save some expenses. And the other point of view is developing these people and cutting of their salaries, but at the same time,
Dr. Munir, maybe
more.
Dr. Munir, the sound is breaking up.
And I have witnessed, I will finish in a minute for this answer. Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, doctor, there was a breakup in the sound, so I appreciate it if we could go over the answer again.
Yes, okay. I will start over again. Okay, for this cutting down the employees, we have 2 points of views. The first point of view believe in that cutting down the employees will save money and expenses for the business owners. And the second point of view is saying cutting down in anything else rather than cutting down in employees, this is the best investment. The first one, we have witnessed many companies who released their employees during the crisis, thinking that they are saving money. But when the crisis actually got actually less and the market developed, they could not get their employees back at all. And the other companies who saved their employees and give them the choice to release themselves and find better job or staying with them with little pay, they survived better actually, and they saved their employees, because many of these employers, they do not think about the morale, and they do not think about the dignity of their employees. They do not think about how can we get back these talents after we actually stopped working with them and we went against them with the crisis. So cutting down employees did not prove itself as a method of facing the crisis at all. And I've been a consultant in many companies trying to get back their talents, but the first thing faced us actually in these companies, what happened when we were actually asking for our living cost from this employer? They did not stand with us. They released us. They gave up on us. We don't want to get back. We want to get even with them. So the best practice actually I found that you don't have to do something like saving money at the expense of cutting down the employees and saving some salaries. You save money by increasing the productivity and find out another kind of products and services and open up new markets instead of releasing your employees, because the job satisfaction and loyalty and morality of these employees will never be touched by these actually methods. So this is my experience in that. I've been through many companies during this 10 or 11 years of crisis, seeing the both parties of point of views.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
There is also a question, Sam. He says, maybe you're reflecting on or follow up. He says, in public organizations during the crisis, there was overstaff, like having many employees for one position. Wouldn't applying layoff strategy be a very good solution back then, and then employees can go back?
Can you just repeat the first part of the question?
Yeah, in public organizations,
yeah,
there was overstaff, like many employees were doing the same position.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
okay.
he's asking,
let me answer this.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm a consultant with this committee of reforming policies and plan here in Syria. We have this kind of, let's say, they say it's بطالة مقنعة, they say it's like something like mask unemployment. Mask unemployment is بطالة مقنعة, okay, which means that we have overstaff and we still employing people. So during the crisis, it was a good solution because, you know, a government is like has the biggest social responsibility for the people who are not having work during the crisis because little opportunities for them are available. But after the crisis, the government started thinking of how can we just use these people and taking the main productivity and the full productivity of their capacities. And as you heard recently, we have a central employment for the government jobs right now. So it's central that not allowed to any ministry to hire people at any time. So we started doing like job analysis and the job requirements to find out, is there any need for this staff or this is an overstaff? So the other thing actually, and I believe in, we should give the power of releasing people who are not having a good performance evaluation, like private sector. Everyone in the private sector is threatened to work at the full capacity, otherwise he or she will be released because of this little performance evaluation. So no private sector will be silent seeing their employees actually getting paid and not working at all. So the public sector, to be honest, start thinking of the same thinking way to have central employment and find out. And can you believe, and let me tell the people who are attending, for the first time in Syria, we have employment based on a job description. Can you believe this? So before this time, we did not have job descriptions for the positions. But 1 year ago, we started developing job descriptions for all the jobs inside the 30 ministries with thousands and tens of thousands of employees and jobs, and start staffing based on job descriptions. So this is something new that gives you a signal that the public sector here in Syria is developing themselves and will not bear any more overstaff at all. But we are getting in there. You know that this is a change management, so it takes between 3 to 5 to 10 years, but at least we started right now.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Most welcome.
And here is a question from Noran on the chat box asking, Doctor, how can we establish a successful telecommuting program? And do you think that implementing telecommuting program would lead to a greater connectivity and collaboration among employees?
Good question, actually. It's similar to the new era of working. A telecommuting program, it means working from home and sending your jobs through the internet or through the emails or whatever connection you have. We can establish this. Let's talk about a very simple, actually, a pilot project we have done during COVID-19. You know that all our employees and all our students stayed home, and we have to deliver our programs, teaching programs. So we started actually delivering our lectures and trainings virtually. We found out that many problems are facing us because telecommuting work needs infrastructure. So it needs internet, needs 3Gs, 4Gs, it needs laptops, needs infrastructure. Otherwise, you are delivering to some people who are not getting connected. So maybe the solution for the telecommuting, making more applications for the mobiles, since the mobiles are more reachable for the people than the laptops. Can you believe that too many works that I send through my mobiles that I couldn't send through my laptops, honestly, because mobiles are connected and they are portable, they are with us. So we can establish a successful telecommuting program if you have the infrastructure for that. So think about the friendly, user-friendly applications and greater connectivity. Actually, it should be greater connectivity for the new era of business, because we see that 2030 jobs saying that 70% of the new jobs will be virtual. So we have to get ready, even though we like it or not. So at least we have to have the infrastructure for this and get our employees and staff trained on how we can work together virtually and remotely. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
And here is a question from Aram also. Training employees can present many challenges, such as lack of motivation from the employee. What is the most effective way, in your opinion, to deal with that?
Okay, this is actually a normal problem that we are facing, that people are not motivated, maybe sometimes, to be trained and developed. But this, you can find this problem, especially in public sector. But the opposite of this problem in private sector. In private sector, people are seeking to be trained. People are just actually, let's say, fighting to train, because the more trained and the more skills they are having is the better situation and career path they will have. But for these people who are demotivated, that I always face when I train in public sector, I make them believe that this will be reflected on their job evaluation and job performance, and this performance will be reflected on more incentives and more raise in their paychecks and more compensations. So and some people actually do not care that much about the money wise. They care about like, let's say, for something like to be promoted and to be eligible for, let's say, higher positions. So everyone gets motivated in a different way. But if I were our colleague who asked this question and I'm in charge of demotivated people for training, I will send a questionnaire for these demotivated people and I will ask them directly, what are you expected to have after getting trained and going through this training course? Their answers actually will give me clues about how can we motivate them. Some of them will answer you that I'm expecting to have new skills that will open new opportunities for me. Some people will answer, I'm expecting to be promoted after having these skills. And more motivation in our courses, training courses, will be in having more practical examples. Some of these trainings I have seen and watched more theoretical than practical. So it's very boring for these people sometimes. And some trainings do not look like their real environment of work. It just actually simulates something like typical situation that they don't have in their company. So make this training very similar to a real life examples, talking to their day-by-day working environment. They will be motivated. It's not an easy thing in public sector, but it's there. It's there, believe me. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Also, Dr. Aram is asking a similar related question. Do you have any suggestions to boost engagement and make sure employees are not bored at work?
Yes, actually, and something very, very practical and very experienced. We started working on management by objectives. Management by objectives, it's the best booster for engaging people. What that means? That means try to do objectives actually for every single job and make every employee participant in achieving these objectives. What we have right now actually in our jobs, that some departments have some objectives, but the only people who are in charge is the managers. So they don't feel the ownership. The employees, regular employees, do not feel the ownership of participating, of achieving these objectives. It tried to divide and narrow down these objectives to a semi-objective, to small objectives, that every employee in any department feel the ownership of getting these objectives achieved.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
And here is a complimentary comment. What a wonderful English, Dr. Munir. Did you teach English before?
Actually, I'm graduated from the United States of America, my PhD from US.
All right.
Thank you.
So coming to the last one, Doctor, and talking about you personally as a guru and an international expert in HR, and then about the IHRM with over 15 years of existence and having over 125 HR managers in big companies in Syria. So first of all, do you think that you get the support that you need? And the second question is, do you think that by reaching these very high objectives. Do you think you did the job?
Honestly speaking, being connected and networked is the best thing and the best benefit we got. As a community, think together is a way much better than thinking by ourselves on our own. Can you believe that we have been conducting salary surveys for the 8 years so far? So we are the only indicator in the labor market of the salary surveys and compensations. So did we get our, let's say, compensation from being together? Yes, actually. Can you believe that we have communities on WhatsApp, on social media? Any question relates to any problem in any company of these members, they raise the question and we all talk together and we all think together and we develop solutions. So our network actually, I remember that our professor in US back years ago, that he was saying, if you are not networking, you are not working. So network is the key
doctor,
for success, actually.
Yes, excuse me, doctor, yeah. There was breakup in the sound. Can you please repeat the statement of the professor?
Yes, he used to say to us, if we are not networking, we are not working. So the network is the clue and the key for any success, actually. And thinking together is a way much better than thinking by yourself. So there is always different views that open your eyes to different solutions. So our being together actually gave us the strengths actually to implement HR practices and know who is doing better in best practices. Our community help each other. Can you believe, if you allow me 1 minute to talk about one project that we have done. We did actually a project in a cooperation with UNDP recently. Actually, this project was internship inside the company. So we trained 251 interns inside the companies in a real life work environment. So can you believe in 8 months, 111 of these interns were employed in a very good jobs? So if we don't have this community, how can we just do this project actually? So this is something we benefit from each other. In one call, in one post, I can get like answers from tens of companies offering their helps.
Great. And one last question, Dr. Munir, that I usually ask for very successful ones in their fields. As an expert and one of the founders of HRM in Syria, did you ever expect yourself to be the person who you are today?
Honestly speaking, every day I'm better than the day before, to be honest with you. Every day I'm learning. Can you believe that these days I'm doing digital entrepreneurship courses to develop myself to be ready for the new era of digital. Yes, digital environment. Yeah, now we are working on a very professional course in digital entrepreneurship. Yes.
And
so we have to get ready. We have to develop ourselves. Right. There is no way actually, because you know the time is running. So you feel like you are running after this time and new technologies. So there is no stop at all.
And any tips for the new generation, Dr. Munir?
Yes, I have a very important tip for them. I would advise them not to get bored and surrender easily. The life has many challenges. Every challenge, if you failed, is a good experience. If you succeeded, is a new challenge to keep your success. So keep running. Yeah, this is my advice.
Great, and it's from a personal experience, I believe.
Excuse me, I didn't hear the last words.
Yeah, I mean, I believe this is from a personal experience.
Yeah, actually, to be honest with you, the new generation want to burn the stages. They do not want to go step by step. So this is something make them like getting bored easily after any failure. But they have to be patient. They have to be patient. We are not here if we were not patient enough, actually. So we went through many challenges. So I would love them to look at the challenge from the positive point of view, because the challenge, without the challenges, without failures, we will never learn success. How can we just appreciate the failure? So I believe that the most challenging we have in environment, the better way to work on our skills. This the challenge give you an idea that you are lacking a lot of skills that you have to work on. So this is my advice to them. Work on yourself, develop your skills. The new era 2030 jobs based on skills, not education.
Right. Is this in a way or another related to knowledge workers?
Excuse me, sir?
Yeah, I mean, this is in a way or another related to knowledge workers?
Yes, it's a continuous learning environment, self-learning environment, self-development environment. Don't wait for anyone to develop you. Start from yourself. Find out everything is there and available on the internet. So start self-develop yourself. Yeah, this is my advice.
Great. I mean, wow. So many thanks, Dr. Munir, for taking the time and the efforts to share some of your knowledge and experience with us. That was truly informative. We did learn a lot.
Thank you so much for having me. Actually, I'm very proud of this kind of meetings and international conference. It let us just think together, actually, in loudly together. So I would love actually to thank you, especially for having me, and to thank our guests here from different countries, maybe, or from local, or I don't know about them, where do they live, but I thank you so much for having the patience to hear me all this time talking, and I hope that I was beneficial and as you expected to have benefits from this session.
Well, actually, it was beyond expectations, and every single word did count. I mean, this field of HRM, especially with raising our awareness to the importance of digital, the common digital business was just in place.
Thank you so much for having me. And hopefully we will have another meetings together. Thank you for Mr. Safwan Kadura. Thank you for Blue Ocean for having this great conference.
Always pleasure there. And thank you very much, everyone, for being with us tonight. And until tomorrow, have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.